Normally I interview athletes who maybe took up one sport early on and then pursued it all the way through. You tried everything before settling on fencing. So just tell me your journey with sports, because I've seen from my research you tried luge for a time, volleyball, track, football, or flag football, and basketball and fencing. So you are kind of the utility player.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. So my story started with basketball. That was just where I played ever since I was little, like very little. That was my first sport ever. And I've played my whole life. So like basketball is my entire life. I've always played. In 8th grade, there was a like open scouting event for luge for the junior Olympic team, and I tried out and they're like, hey, we want you on our team. So I got to train in Lake Placid for 2 years. I didn't live there, but we would go like 4 weeks and then come back for a little bit and then go 4 weeks again. So it was a lot of back and forth during school time, but luge is very dangerous, and they're like, oh, every time you go down, it's like a 5% chance that you're not gonna make it. And I'm like, I don't like those odds. I really did not like those odds. So that's something, it was a really cool experience, and I would definitely go back to do bobsled. So if you're on the bobsled team, hit me up. But yeah, I really liked bobsled, even though I didn't get to try it. But for bobsled, that's like later in life. So like after college is when people usually start that. But yeah, luge is super fun. But the main reason why I stopped is because I crashed during the summer, and I sprained both of my ankles, fractured one ankle in 2 places, chipped a bone. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe not. I don't want to be doing all this. So that's why I stopped doing luge and I focused on basketball. But the problem is now my ankles have all these problems, right? So like every season I'm out for an injury. Probably one of my ankles sprained something like every single year. That's just kind of how it went every year. But freshman year, I played volleyball. I also played volleyball in 8th grade for the high school. So I played volleyball for 3 years, I think it was. I really like volleyball. I played it because, so at this time I was playing volleyball and basketball. And I played volleyball because my sister would always take my Gatorades out of the fridge for basketball. And I was like, Tegan, those are my Gatorades. Tegan's my sister's name. But I'm like, Tegan, those are my Gatorades. You don't need my Gatorades to play volleyball. So I played volleyball and I only drank water just to prove to my sister that she didn't need to take her Gatorades. But I did really like volleyball and it was super fun. But it just wasn't my calling. I didn't really bond well with the coaches or the team that much, so I stopped my sophomore year. And then also my sophomore year, I started doing cheer, which I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to cheer. I always loved dancing, stuff like that. Remember, this entire time I'm still playing basketball. But yeah, so I'm doing cheer as well, and it was during the volleyball season. And that's kind of when I first started getting the you can't do 2 sports at once kind of notation. My coach was fine with it, but it was like the older coaches for like the varsity team. She was like, I don't know, like you don't seem dedicated, even though I would come to every practice that I could. But that was kind of why I stopped playing volleyball. But I was able to cheer because my sister's 1 year younger than me. And my dad was like, no, I can't cheer. But then my sister wanted to cheer, so then my dad let me cheer. So my sophomore year, ever till now, I've been cheer captain, which is super fun, and I love it so much. So once again, back to sophomore year. So I'm playing volleyball, I'm cheering, and I'm doing basketball. But that's also kind of when I took my robotics team more seriously. And so that was a whole another thing. But moving on to junior year, I stopped playing volleyball, but I was still cheering for football and playing basketball. And one of the big things that year was that the coaches didn't think I was dedicated, even though I would go to every practice, all the 6 a.m.s, stuff like that. And I was like kind of sacrificing myself and my robotics team to play basketball. And they didn't think I was dedicated because whenever I missed practice, it was because I was sick or I had to make up a test after school. But I don't know, the coaches just did not appreciate that. And they said that I wasn't dedicated enough, even though I had spent my entire life playing and waking up at 6 a.m. every morning to come to practice. But I don't know. And that really hurt me because I didn't see the value that I had. And so that's why my senior year, I decided to quit. And even though my best friend, she played, she actually quit her senior year too because she wanted to focus on volleyball. She has a D1 scholarship. That's Jordyn. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, so then after she left and she was our big powerhouse center, like she was rebounding everything in the paint, then all of a sudden they wanted to come to me once Jordyn left and be like, oh, we need you to be big. We need you to do this and this. But it's like the past 3 years you didn't need me. So I'm not going to come just to replace her. And plus I had already lost my love for playing at that school, so I just said no. And so I focused on my fencing, which I started my junior year, and that was a winter sport, and competitions were mostly in the spring and the winter. And so my junior year, like near the springtime, is when I started reaching out to coaches for fencing, and I would say, although I have very little experience, I'm working very hard, and I'm usually in the top 4 at local competitions my first year, and then this year I was winning first place in all of our tournaments, and then I also won state this year. So I'm like, yeah, I'm working hard. I can put in the work if I have a good coach. And so that's how I decided to do fencing in college at Wayne State University.
Well, a couple of thoughts came to me as you were going through your entire biography in sports. I'm guessing you understood or maybe you learned about the significance of Lake Placid, and I don't know too many folks who had the chance to go there, considering its place in Olympic history. That has to have been, or that had to have been an immersive experience for you just to go there. And what do you think you learned doing all of these different sports? I knew about Jordyn because I had Jordyn on last year, and she told me that she was going to focus on volleyball and basketball, made some coaching changes too, which may have played a part in it, but I digress. But a lot of athletes, they focus on the one sport, and there's no wrong answer, no wrong path. Sure. You gave luge a try in basketball and volleyball, and then you moved to fencing as a junior. You had cheer, you had flag football. What do you think you learned just playing all these different sports in an era where a lot of folks sometimes get caught up in the specialization, like, oh, if you don't put everything into this one sport, you're not going to go far. And I'd say you're proof that, no, you can try a lot of sports and find one even later in your high school that works for you.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is what you plan on doing after high school and after college, because there's very few sports where you can go on to play after college, and even basketball, you need to be like the #1 person in the entire country if you're going to want to play in the WNBA. And so although you can get to college with it, you really have to think about what you want to do after college and after your sport, because when college ends, there's a high chance that so does your career. So I really wanted to focus on my education and the rest of my life rather than 4 more years in college. And so for me, I really wanted a school and an environment where I could learn and grow and get the degree that I want so that I can be successful after sports. And I found that with basketball, one of the main reasons why I don't participate in it anymore is because it's very much of that mindset, like you said, like you need to specialize, you need to just do this, but only for less than 1% of the players to even have a career after that. And one thing I did not want is to go to a school just to play basketball and they not have my degree or not have what I want in the future. And so then I get out of college, can't play anymore, can't do what I've done my entire life, and also with a degree that isn't necessarily what I want. But I feel like with fencing, it was really my choice, like, because there's not a lot of schools that do have fencing, but I feel like all of them that do are definitely places where I could see myself. And so I thought that, or I still think that fencing was more right for me, and that it's a lot more individual based, and a lot of things with team sports is that you need to be committed to your team, and I think that's a great thing. But in college, you also need to be committed to your team in fencing, and so it's really a new outlook on things because you're competing by yourself, but every point you get goes towards your team. And so you're there for your team, but you're also there for yourself. Yeah.
So what I was curious about, what did you learn about yourself as an athlete, trying out all these different sports, and then settling on fencing, which you mentioned has more of an individual ingredient to it, but what did you learn about yourself? Because I often encourage athletes when I'm on broadcast to take up multiple sports, even though basketball is the one I'm most associated with. I always plug it because you get a chance to try out different things. You get to work on muscles that you might not always get to do in your primary, but I feel like you also get a chance to learn what it's like to play a sport for fun.
For sure, yeah.
And in your case, I have to think everything you tried played a part with fencing. Now, obviously, you don't have to worry about pick and roll or double teams or full court press as a fencer, but how do you think all of your sports, cheerleading, or is it just cheer or cheerleading?
Cheerleading, cheer, whatever one you want to call it.
Okay, they are the same thing.
Yeah.
So how did cheer and basketball and volleyball and even your time in luge, how did that all add up when you decided to take up fencing?
I feel like it taught me a lot about myself. Every sport needs different things, and there's overlaps, of course, but I feel like it taught me a lot about myself, especially with cheer, knowing that I like to dance and I love dance, and having the opportunity to do that. For basketball, it was a lot about the team. It was that IQ, quick reaction time. Fencing, once again, that quick IQ, being able to read your opponent. It's very strategic, kind of like chess. But I feel like I learned a lot about myself with every single sport, and I bring a different self to every sport. And I feel like it just reminds me to put myself first, and if I'm injured, to sit out and not keep playing. But also like what I value for teammates, what I value for myself, what standard I hold myself to.
What was your favorite sport growing up, and who were the people you looked up to? And this could be anyone, family, high school, college, pro. What inspired you to go down this path?
Yeah, so growing up, really the only sport I did was basketball. When I say growing up, I mean like before high school. That was really the only sport that I did, but that's kind of a hard one, is because I admire different things from a bunch of different people, like my aunt because of how smart and beautiful she is, my grandma because she's like the matriarch of our family, but I feel like for me, I never had somebody that I saw all of myself in, and so that's really why I like to do all these different things, play sports, I do pageants, I model, I'm on a robotics team, I'm going to be an engineer. I just want to show that you can be more than just one thing. You don't have to fit into a box or a category as a certain type of player. You can be smart, beautiful, and athletic all at once, and then that you can become your own role model and you can be proud of yourself.
Well, I'm glad you took up that philosophy. I can handle smart, beautiful, and athletic. It's still a work in progress.
Hey, you're getting there. You're getting there.
I tease. I am not that fragile with myself. So you talked about this a bit. What got you into fencing?
Yeah.
It's not a sport that is sanctioned here.
For sure.
There are competitions that you took part in, of course, but it's a sport you really only hear about in the Olympics, at least in the States, and every country, every region has sports they enjoy and sports that are bigger than others, so I'm not saying, oh, people should be more into fencing, but what led you to took it up? That is not a sport I come across often when I meet up with athletes.
Yeah, so in elementary school, well, I live in Maple Grove, and so in elementary school, there was like a 6-week camp over the summer, and it was in Maple Grove, and it was just to try fencing and stuff like that, and I absolutely loved it. I would always do my 2 truths and a lie that fencing was my favorite sport, but that was it. Like, for a whole bunch of years, that was the last I ever did fencing, but now that I have my driver's license and I went to a school in Minneapolis, now I can drive to fencing, which is in Minneapolis, but it's 45 minutes away from my house. So my mom did not want to drive me 45 minutes every night. But now that I can drive myself and I can kind of push myself to do it, that's how I got back into it.
When you took it up again, because I think this is in the middle of you being Miss Teen Minnesota, USA, you had some things going on, and I'm not questioning your time management because you got your degree, you're going to college, or not degree, diploma. You will get your degree.
Yes.
So I'm speaking it into existence, that's it. So 4 years from now, when you look at this, you'll be like, yep, he said it and I got it.
I got it.
So what goes into it?
Yeah.
I know you and I talked a while ago about the different disciplines, epi, saber, foil. Each one's a little different, but how do you prep for a fencing match?
Yeah.
And how does that differ? And maybe what are some similarities too compared to the sports that I typically cover in high school.
Yeah. So as far as preparing, there's practices year round. They're 3 times a week at my club, but there's practices year round. You can also have private lessons, which are super common, and that's just when you're working one-on-one with your coach and they're focusing on specific things you need to work in. There's also a lot of open bouting, which is basically like an open gym. You show up and you fence whoever is there just to practice and you're going full out, or you can, work with your partner and focus on certain things like that. So that's kind of how the preparation goes. I know like on a day when you are going to be fencing, on a tournament day, everyone has their own different routine. Some people get there an hour early and they sit and stretch for 30 minutes, then they go do this and this and this. For me, in the beginning, I prepped for fencing how I prepped for basketball. So that's putting my headphones on, listening to music, just focusing, imagining bouts, imagining touches like that. But I noticed that I got really into my feelings when I did that. And so I would go into a match and I would win or lose, and I would focus on the negative, and I would take it very emotionally, and I would just be in a horrible mood afterwards. So I'd come off the strip and I'd be like, oh my God, I just did so bad, and I'm so mad, I'm so angry, listening to music, I'm so mad. My mom's trying to cheer me up and I'm like, oh, you don't know, just leave me alone. But I feel like one of the biggest things that helped me to not be like that anymore is, number one, find a coach that can strip coach me. That's when like I'm fencing and they are on the side, and then during halftime they can come talk to you. Is find a coach that really understands me and can say, this is what you're doing, this is how you need to fix it, and this is what your opponent's doing, and this is what you need to do to beat your opponent. That helped me a lot. And then also that preparation. Before, I would listen to the exact same music and I would get in my feelings and be sad. But now I listen to that music and I take that and I let it build up my energy. And so I always have my headphones on, but I'm dancing, I'm jamming, I'm rocking to all my music, and it really puts me in a good mood and good personality, so I can fence with energy and passion rather than anger, if that makes sense.
Well, I'd say your passion is not lacking, because I understand you've made a couple of podiums in your fencing career. There is a page. So how quickly did you pick up on the sport? You had some experience when you were younger and then getting back into it. What was that reacclimation process like? You talked about having to adjust your mindset going into matches, but getting the chance, I think you have a first place finish and like a second and a third. So to see things come together as quickly as it has for you, what has that done for your mentality, your confidence, and your decision? I'm not saying going into it was a bad one, but when you saw, hey, I found something, and based on all the sports that I could find, all the stats, fencing has been your most successful one. That had to have been an uplifting feeling to know that, hey, I can do this, if you know what I mean.
For sure. So last year, my first year, I kind of got thrown in with the piranhas. I went to one class where they just show you the weapons, they teach you how to use them, and my coach was like, okay, you're ready to go to classes. But going to classes is like some people are adults, they're people that have been fencing like their entire life, and so I kind of got thrown in there. And playing basketball, with that being my past, is kind of you kind of hide your, not really pain, you hide your confusion, you hide your emotion, and you're just there to put in that work. And so I put in the work. I was figuring stuff out on my own, trying to figure out what in the world is going on with fencing. But yeah, that was kind of my, how I started again, and that reacclimation was just getting thrown in with people that were so much better than me, being scared to fence people, but I knew it was good for me to fence people that were better than me. Once again, I still had that negative mindset, but in the tournaments that year, I was getting solid, like, fourth place, third place, second place, stuff like that. And if you notice, like the fourth place and second place, that's when you lose your last match. And so, especially for the third place and fourth place bout, I would like give up because of that bad mindset. I'm like, well, I already lost, I didn't get first, da-da-da-da. And it's because of that bad mindset, is I already spent the entire day exhausting all my energy on being mad and being angry and stuff like that. And so that's when I didn't have the best results. But then this year, I've been first place in all my tournaments except one, the one right before state. And I was like, I'm going to beat this girl. So I worked with my coach doing extra practices, extra stuff. And then at state, I took home the championship.
Well, I don't know if there's time this summer or maybe next year.
Yeah.
It would be a fun embedding assignment. I go to one of your meets, you could show me a few things.
That'd be super fun.
Just to see me struggle. No. I've done that a couple of times just to highlight how much goes into it.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to adapt to all of the equipment? Because a lot of it is for safety purposes, since you're dealing with swords, whatever type it is, and some of it includes the electronic devices that are used for scoring. But how long did it take? Because it's not like volleyball or basketball or track or even flag football where you put your stuff on in 2 minutes, you put on the jersey, put on the shorts, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's a little more involved.
It's a little more than that.
It takes a little longer.
Yeah, and so the equipment is like very expensive, and when you're first trying a sport, you're not gonna go spend $2,000, $3,000 on all the gear if you don't even know if you like it. So in the beginning, it was a lot of borrowing stuff. Like every day I had to get practice early so I could find all the gear that I needed. And so just to explain what that is, on the bottom, you're wearing shorts, like just your own shorts. And then what's over top is something called knickers, and they're basically like a protective pant. But then you also have to wear socks that go up to your knee. So that protects your bottom half. And then your top half, you're wearing a chest protector that protects your chest. You're wearing an arm protector, which protects your shoulder and the arm that's closer to your opponent. You wear a jacket, which protects your whole body, your arms, stuff like that. And then you wear your lame on top, which is what's electric, is the lame. And so that's a lot of layers, plus your glove, and then you have a mask. And then you also have cords to connect your mask to the strip, is what it's called. That's what, like, the giant long floor, basically. That's what that's called. And so you have to wear your cords to connect your mask and your lame to the electronics. So that's a lot. It's a lot to buy. So I have now all my own gear, but in the beginning it was a lot of getting early, finding my sizes of everything, finding this and this and this and this, stuff like that. But I feel like I've gotten pretty used to it. Now that I have my own gear and stuff, I had to keep upgrading the size of my bag to fit all my masks, all my cords, all my swords and stuff like that. And I've been trying other weapons too, so now I have like a foil mask and a saber mask, and then like my old saber mask, and I have like 3 in my bag, and so it's just like a whole bunch of stuff. But there's a certain way to put it in so that everything fits. But yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. My jacket has my last name on it, which I love so much, because borrowing it before, I had some random person's last name, and they're like, oh, do you know da-da-da? I have no clue who that is. I don't even know what the name on my bag says. But yeah, now I have my own, so which is like amazing. So it says my last name on the back, hopefully. And then when you go to college, you get like a mask that has like a logo on the front, which I think is super cool. Sometimes I have a giant W on the front for winner, not really, but for Wayne, but also for winner.
Well, you have one, so that is accurate. You are a fencing winner.
Yes, that's very true.
So it works both ways. My first thought is, what happens if in the middle of a match or a practice session, if you have to use the restroom? Is it this long process where you have to take everything?
Yeah, so you cannot go during a match. Like, you cannot go. You cannot leave a strip. You can't take a break during a match. During practice, I wouldn't recommend going once you got your stuff on. So go before practice, because you're going to miss the entire drill if you go, to be honest. But yeah.
So you make sure you don't drink too much before a match, because I know hydration is key, but during a match, I dread to think what would happen if you or another fencer start thinking of,
Oh my goodness. Luckily, my weapon is one of the faster ones, so a 5-touch bout should be done in like 2 minutes, and then you gotta run, and then run back.
Okay.
The 15-touch, they're a little bit longer, but they're still only like 10 minutes, if that. So you should be fine. And there's like a lot of space in between. You get a 10-minute grace period in between bouts for 15-touch. For 5-touch, it's pool play, so you're going. But for the 15-touch bouts, you get like a 10-minute grace period. So that's when you run and then run back.
All right, well, that makes sense. And now I do remember even the Olympic bouts, the fencing matches don't take super long, because it doesn't take too long to get a scoring play. What have you enjoyed most about fencing so far, discovering that you could go to college and compete in it. You're going to Wayne State to participate in fencing. That blew my mind when I heard about it, but what have you enjoyed most about the sport, and how exciting has it been to see your efforts and your investment, all of the work you've put into adjust your mindset, spruce up your technique, where you have found yourself winning some tournaments and you'll have a chance to win some more when you go to Wayne State?
I feel like one thing that I really like about it is that you kind of depend on yourself, and you can quite openly see what the problem is. Like maybe in other sports where like someone doesn't do the play right, but you're not entirely sure what's wrong with it, or something and this, there's a whole bunch of different factors it could be. I feel like in fencing it's pretty straightforward. Like if you miss your touch and they get you, you missed it. That's what's wrong with it. And so I feel like it's, I wouldn't say easy to fix things, but it's more apparent, so you can see what the problem is and you can correct it as soon as you can. And I also like how often medals are given out, so then I can have multiple first place medals. Like if you win a basketball game, you don't get a medal, you just, yay, we won. But like you win in fencing, you get a medal or you get a trophy. And I really like the community because they're very creative. So I won a tournament called the Cupid's Arrow, and my trophy was an actual bow and arrow. Yeah.
I'm like, as soon as you say Cupid's Arrow, my mind is going, I know where this is going. They're going to lean into the reference.
Yes.
And so, I would have done the same thing. So
yeah, it's a very creative community, and I love the different trophies and stuff you can get.
So have you ever had some friendly smack talk with Jordyn? Because I know Jordyn competed in volleyball tournaments and maybe didn't win as many medals, although she's going to play D1. But do you ever meet up and go, hey, Jordyn, look at all these medals I got?
One time I showed up to work with my medal on because I just came from a tournament. I'm like, yeah, I did that. But no, me and Jordyn, we're in two separate worlds. She's doing her volleyball thing. Actually, the last day I ever played volleyball was a summer workout. Jordyn was hitting and I blocked her hit. That was the last time I've ever played volleyball. So I would say that I stopped Jordyn. I blocked her. She never beat me because that was the one time I ever played against her, but I blocked her hit. And that was the last time I ever played volleyball. But yeah.
That's when you decided, yep, I can't do any more with this. I blocked Jordyn Johnson, so time to
Jordyn, you got
quit
that.
one ahead.
This is all you, friend.
But you did have a hand. You got her into the BOB Robotics Club, and I remember Jordyn talking about that. Both of you are looking at careers in engineering.
Yeah.
I know robotics is not what we typically think of when it comes to sports, and I'm guessing there's not a lot of crossover between fencing and robotics, but...
You'd be surprised, actually.
That's what I said, I guess, but that's why I'm framing it this way, because maybe you do have something. Maybe there is a fact or two you can enlighten us with, but... It's another activity. You and Jordyn had no trouble balancing all of that, but... What does carry over then? Because Jordyn being in volleyball and basketball, you doing everything. Yeah. Again, in robotics, obviously you don't have to suit up and you don't have to go through drills.
You'd be surprised once again.
I'd say, do they make you run suicides at robotics meets?
Oh, you're not running it, but your robot is. So
that's what I was getting at. Like you physically don't have to do all of the routines. But what goes into that, and what are some similarities between robotics and the sports that we've been talking about?
Yeah, so a little bit about how I got started in robotics. I went to a nonprofit organization called Minnesota STEM Partnership, and I was sitting there, and they gave me a giant box of parts, and they said, build a robot. So I'm like, okay, I'm building this robot by myself. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this alone. So I called on some of my friends, and all of my friends were athletes that played basketball, and I didn't think anything of it. And so we're all on a team, and they're like, okay, you guys need a team name for your first competition. I was like, oh, Bob, because like Bob the Builder, you know? Like, he builds stuff, right? Like, yeah, Bob the Builder. And so our team name was Bob, because, Bob the Builder. And so we get to competition, and we walk in, and we got our hair done. We're looking all the way to the nines because there's an interview, a judge's interview at the start of a competition. So we're dressed to the nines, hair done, but everyone's wearing our matching t-shirts and then our pants. We walk in, and literally people are gazing at us like, what? Who just walked in here? They're going to the wrong place. What in the world? And I turned around and I looked at our team and I realized like what we symbolized. We were all people of color, we all did sports, and we were all female, which no other team was all black, all female. And so I was like, okay, we need to focus on our team. And we had a really good turnout our first year. We made it to state. And at the end of the year banquet, a little girl came up to me and she said, I want to be just like you when you grow up. I wasn't a freshman in high school. I'm not grown up yet. I don't know. And so I was like, okay, we mean something and we show something that hasn't been done yet in the robotics circuit. And so that's why we changed Bob to B-O-B, which stands for Black, Outstanding, and Beautiful. But it's also Bob, so it can be read either way.
You turned it into an acronym.
We turned it into a meaning, and we got our signature leather jackets. And yeah, so that's kind of how our team started. And so as far as crossover, like I said, there's that interview when you first go in. It's like a 10-minute interview with the judges, and you talk about everything that you've done, your design, stuff like that. And I feel like that kind of carries over into the professionalism outside of the sport. So when you're meeting with new coaches, when you're going on these college visits, when you're even talking with the refs in your sport, I feel like that composure and that poise that you have in robotics is also important in sports when talking to people and when you're not necessarily on the court at that time. I feel like another thing is how quickly you need to think on your feet, because you could finish a match in robotics and half your robot's broken and the wheel's falling off. So you need to be quick and think of how to fix it. How do I do this, still get points for this, and a whole bunch of different things. And so I feel like a lot of that quick decision making is super important.
Have you ever considered building a fencing robot?
Fencing robot, no. Sadly not. I have not. I don't want my job to be taken yet, so I'll keep that on the back burner.
I'm not saying it would take your job. I'm just saying
that could be fun.
A robot that could engage in saber. If you needed a break, just
send out the robot. Oh my goodness.
But I know you and Jordyn took up robotics, and that was a big part of your identity. And even though you took up different sports,
yeah.
What did you enjoy most about it? You talk about this one kid, I don't know where she is now, that sees you, and you might have to send me some photos, because I believe you when you said you're dressed to the nines, but that had to have been amusing, just looking back on that first event, everyone gazing at you like,
what are you wearing?
Who are these people?
What in the world?
And you and I talked about this. You've been intentional about it. I asked Jordyn about this, and I'll throw this question to you as well. What do you think the significance is for you to take up all these sports? Fencing, I have no idea who takes that up in terms of demographic breakdown, but robotics and STEM and engineering, those aren't seen as activities, and I'm guessing fencing, but if I'm wrong, say something, because again, I don't know, I'm just making a guess. Not seen as activities that are common among Black Americans or Black men, women in general. So to have a part in this space and to see what that symbolized, what that represented for others, how has that rubbed off on you?
Yeah, I feel like it's rubbed off on me a lot. Kind of like I said earlier, I don't have one role model that embodies everything that I am. And so I want young girls to know, I want young people of color to know, young people in general to know that you don't have to fit into a box. You don't need to feel pressured to do this one thing that the school is telling you to do, your family's telling you to do. You can follow your dreams and you can do what you want to do. You just have to make it happen for yourself. And so whether that's going outside, dribbling a basketball in your yard for an hour every day, or seeking out a robotics competition, a robotics team that you want to join in, I just want everyone to know that you don't need to fit into what other people expect of you. And if people tell you no, take that as a challenge and find a way around that so that you can achieve what you want to achieve.
And when you and Jordyn built these robots, I don't know if you'll continue that in college down the road. So those robotics meets, I know NSPN covers it, and I've seen demonstrations at the state fair. So you're building robots to perform specific tasks, as I understand it?
Yeah, so our competition league that we competed in was FTC, and that's First Tech Challenge. So every year they come up with a new challenge in the fall, and each challenge you can win certain points for doing certain things. So like say it's moving a block, putting it here, having your robot hang completely off the ground. There's a whole bunch of different tasks that there can be. But yeah, so you can just complete different tasks, and I feel like it helps you a lot learning how to code, how to 3D print, and also that engineering aspect.
So before long, you could 3D print your own sabers.
I could actually. I know how to 3D print, so.
You could print your own sabers, your own masks, if Wayne State ever is in a pinch and the
there we go.
machine
Put me in the
is
design lab.
taken. I got you covered. Well, another space you took up, and I'm a little surprised this didn't get more coverage, was Miss Teen Minnesota. And I saw it's an event that a lot of participants can compete in several times, whether it's Miss Teen Minnesota or the adult version. What led you to give that a try, and what do you recall from that experience? Because you got to take it up for a couple of years. You came in second your first time. They called it first runner-up, I think. And then you won the whole thing the following year. So just take us through that journey.
Yeah, so when I was very little, I always grew up watching pageants like Miss America, Miss Universe, just seeing these gorgeous models and everybody just on stage being gorgeous. And I always wanted that for myself. Like I always wanted myself to be beautiful and to see myself doing something important. And so when I was very, very little, my mom put me in like these little pageants in Arkansas. Think toddlers and tiaras, but we weren't crazy like that.
You're crazy, all right, just crazy athletic.
But yeah, so I would walk in there with my little dress from Macy's, my natural hair, and we walk backstage and they're like, all right, girls, these little 2-, 3-year-olds, they were like, girls, who needs to be tanned? Who needs to get their hair curled? And my mom's like, nope, we're not doing none of that. You're gonna get on that stage and you're gonna rock it, girl. And that's what I did. I got on the stage, little 2-year-old me can barely walk, but I'm out there strutting my stuff. And it was so much fun. I can barely remember it, but I saw videos and I looked like I was having fun. But that was kind of my first experience with pageants. I know a lot of people kind of grow up in the pageant system. There's a whole bunch of different systems, but I know a lot of people grow up in it, so they're doing pageants yearly, having multiple titles and stuff like that. But I really hadn't done anything with a pageant till my first year competing for Miss Minnesota Teen USA, which is under the Miss Universe organization. And so my first year, I was like, yeah, we'll try it, we'll see. I want to be on stage, it'll be fun, and get to wear a dress. And so my first year, I actually did really good. I got first runner-up, like you said, which is second place. And that was kind of crazy because it was my first year doing pageants with all these people that had walking coaches, interview coaches, stylists, sponsors, dress sponsors, all this stuff, and it was just me and my mom. Like she had made my intro gown, she made that, stuff like that. So we were just kind of there wearing what we thought looked good, and I got first runner up. And then the next year, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. I still don't have sponsors, coaches, nothing like that. But I just put the work in by myself, and once again, me and my mom working together to make our athletic wear outfit, to make our dress or to find a dress, stuff like that. And so we really put our work in, and then I was able to win the title.
I would think athletic wear you would have covered with all the different sports.
Yeah, I mean, the athletic they're looking for is a little bit different. It's like yoga.
ITs. Yes, yes,
It's supposed to be cutesy, not made for sweating.
So what led you to give that a try and to see how well you were able to make an impression with the judges? Because I know it's a judged, it's a scored event.
Yeah.
And it's a little different than competing in sports where whoever has the most points, in fencing. If I score the most points and I win all the matches, I win the tournament.
Yeah.
This one, there's a little more of that uncertainty aspect. But what did you learn from those pageants, and what do you remember just going up and having to compete in all the different categories? Because I think there's athletic wear.
And there's evening gown, and then there's interview.
Okay, athletic evening interview. I asked because I have not covered it myself. But what do you remember from the two pageants that you took part in, and how do you think you prepare for that, or just the preparation and when you approach those categories? Because I know when it comes to apparel, you just have to show it off, but like you said, sometimes there's walking coaches involved, and then interviews. I know you and I didn't do a whole lot. I'm guessing you had some practice elsewhere though. But I am just curious because again, this isn't something that I come across a lot with athletes at your level.
Yeah, so for me, it kind of started with robotics, kind of that crossover like I was talking about. That judge's interview, that first thing, trying to get every single point, every single thing you want to talk about in that short amount of time, with the judges asking you questions, still wanting to showcase the best parts of your robot and stuff like that. So using some of that interview, as well as just trying to bring my message, which started in robotics, that you can be more than just what people expect you to be. You can be beautiful, smart, and athletic. And so using that as my platform, kind of spreading the vision and spreading myself and trying to be a good role model for the young girls that are thinking about it, and show that you don't need to be prissy and what the stereotype for pageants is, walking in heels, wearing dresses everywhere. So just kind of changing that notion, changing that stereotype, and so you can win while being yourself. And kind of the interview is kind of how this is going right now. I got my legs crossed very politely. Trying not to use too much with my hands, but I do talk with my hands a lot. But yeah, just kind of trying to get every single point out that I want to make, while also having a conversation and a connection with the judges.
You can use your hands as much as you like, as long as you don't punch me in the face, Mikhala.
Okay, I think you're far enough away, so you should be good.
You don't seem like the kind of person that would do that. In my head, too. Like, you know what? You proved you don't have to be crazy either to win the pageant.
You do not have to be crazy.
Yourself.
You
don't have to adopt
yes.
this persona that isn't authentic.
Exactly.
What do you remember from the interview portion? And maybe what do you remember trying to find the right outfits? Because again, you got to compete twice.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, how did that first run lead into the second, where you went from second to first? But what were the questions that you had, and how do you prep yourself to think on the spot? Because it's kind of like what we're doing, and it's not unlike what I do with my broadcasting. I don't have to go in front of a stage like you do, but when I'm calling a game, you got to think on the spot for at least an hour, if not more.
Yeah, so there's kind of two stages of interview. And so there's an interview with the judges that's private and that's timed. But then there's also the on-stage question where you're saying it in front of everyone there and the judges. And yeah, that's very stressful. But the private interview, you actually send in a bio and a little bit about yourself beforehand, so they have a chance to go through it, and then they ask you certain things like, what kind of message do you want to share with everyone here? And even random things, because I like putting everything random on my thing. So one of the questions was, what's your favorite thing to cook? I'm not good at cooking, so I said I like opening the can of cranberries. That was my favorite meal. And one of my facts was I can solve a Rubik's Cube in 45 seconds. And just cool, random stuff like that, rather than all oh, I'm a model, I'm a dancer, which is true, but I want to show a wide range and that I'm very well-rounded. And so that first year, I was very nervous. I think my interview was very strong, both my first and second year, but it's really that on-stage question that gets me. It's very scary because it's just you up there and they have that scary music. It's da-na-na, and you're hi, and you're standing in heels, so your feet definitely hurt because you've already been standing in heels for 2 hours. And being an athlete, you're not used to standing in heels for 2 hours. So you're standing on stage, heels, your feet hurt, you're trying to balance on these very small stilettos, especially being an athlete because you're not used to that. But the judges will ask you a question, and this question is not about you. It could be literally anything. It could be, what's your favorite date? Whatever. The kind of iconic. Did
you say April 25th?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to talk about. The iconic, what's your favorite date, is April 25th, because it's not too warm and it's not too hot and it's not too cold.
All you need is a light jacket.
All you need is a light jacket.
One of my friends was born on that day, and I saw the film Miss Congenialities, and I'm just a pop culture nerd anyway, so.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of blanking on stage, which happens, and the judges know that. So if you keep your smile and you stay calm, you'll be fine. I don't even remember what my question was the first year. I have no clue what I answered, but apparently it wasn't that bad. I know my second year, I was a lot more focused, and I think the question was what 3 virtues do you want to see, where would you expect in a queen or a pageant queen or something like that, someone to hold the title. And I just spoke from the heart, said what I felt. I didn't want to bring in stuff about me. I wanted to say what I wanted to see in a winner. You know what I'm saying? And so I said I try to model that, and I try to see that in myself, and I try to display that for everyone here, stuff like that. So kind of the preparation is you want to know loosely what you want to come back to. So for me, it's coming back to that you can be anything you want to be, but athletic, smart, and beautiful. Like that's kind of where I want to bring stuff back to. For any of the questions like, what's your message? What do you hope to accomplish? Stuff like that. But yeah, questions can be really random. And so it's just taking that time, also working on your body language and stuff like that. I have a tendency to end my sentences with so yeah. So I'm really trying to not end with so yeah and end with and be done.
I just have a tendency to ramble. I don't end with anything specific. So I guess we can rule out you didn't answer April 25th to any of your questions.
Sadly, no. My mom did when they were practicing, and she went on stage, and they're like, blah, 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 what's your idea of the perfect date? That's what my mom answered, which was hilarious, but yeah, no. And you also want to, that's part of it, you want to keep it short and sweet where the judges aren't sleeping by the time you finish your answer, but you also want to have that power and get to where you're trying to go and make sure you display that to the judges.
I'm not sure if that would be my best or worst portion because I enjoy going offbeat, absurdist, and just having fun. Like that's me. So I might say something silly. And you talked about the heels. I mean, I wore dress shoes at my mom's wedding, and I'm like, I don't know how you women make it work.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I don't know. Are you just all masochists secretly that just enjoy punishing yourselves?
It's horrible. You stand nice on the stage, you get off, and you're like ripping them things off your feet to run down the hallway to go change. But I've been doing walking practice for the next pageant that I'm going to do. So that's heels for 2 hours straight, which are very tall, but we're working on it.
So if nothing else I've learned from this, you prefer athletic footwear.
Yeah, I would say
you're the sneakers over heels type.
I would prefer a nice sneaker, but I feel like there's something about wearing heels when you're a girl. Like it just makes you look long, and then your walk is so nice. Even if you don't even try, like your natural walk is so nice. You get a nice little swish. You look so cute if you wear a good pair of heels that won't make your feet hurt in 5 minutes, but yeah.
So I feel like I have to ask you this. I don't know if anyone has interviewed you about this before. I know they have video, photography, it gets covered. I don't know who broadcasts it, but I saw clips of your two pageants. The first time, you get second, first runner-up. So I don't know what your expectations were, but I'm guessing you either met or surpassed them, and getting to that point had to have been an honor. The second time, your name wasn't called first runner-up, which meant you were the last name read. So just take us through those emotions, those feelings when you were able to place as high as you did the first time without any real sense of what to expect, and without the traditional practices or preparation, because a lot of your work came from sports, which sounds like suited you well, and then to do it again, kind of going through the same playbook and winning that second time. What do you remember from finishing second and then going on to win and forever put your name in the history books? You will always be there. There will always be a bio and album, and I think it's one of the coolest things in the world. Yeah,
well, thank you. So just for the people that don't know, the way that they crown, there's usually a top 5, and so the top 5 girls will stand there, and they'll go 5th to 1st. So they'll go 5th place, this one. Well, it's 4th runner-up. So 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Now you have 1st runner-up and the winner, okay? So now you two are standing next to each other, and you're facing each other, you're talking to each other, like, oh my God, who's gonna win? I love you so much. If you don't win, I still love you. If I win, da da da. Like, you're stressed, and you're like, what do I do? Because they sit and they wait. They're like, your first runner-up is, it's like a 20-minute wait, I swear. So long.
I'm guessing it's not that long, but for you, it
feels very long.
It probably was, what, 20
seconds? And so you're
stressing,
you're stressing. And the thing is, if they say your name, that means you're the first runner-up. That means you did not win. So if you hear your name, that means you didn't win. So if you don't hear it, then you win, which is kind of tricked me up. But yeah, so the first year, I came in with the mentality, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna be here, da-da-da-da, right? Because I thought everyone was better than me. I thought I was just gonna be there, be square, I was just there.
You got to be in a pageant, right?
And when they called me for the top 15, I was like, oh, okay. When they called me for top 5, I was like, okay, now I gotta do on-stage question. Okay. When my name was not called in the third through fifth, I was like, oh my gosh, like I might actually win this. This is crazy. And so my first year, I was definitely there just for fun, and I was very surprised that I got anything. And then my second year, I was a lot more, I need to get this, I need to win. And I was very focused. I was locked in. I was listening to my music, doing everything, trying to get everything right, trying to get everything very perfect. I feel like my second year, I had a lot of competition. I really liked the girls. I feel like it was a good competition, you know? So I really had no clue if I was even gonna place in the top 5, top 12 at that. So I really had to work in every single aspect of what I was doing. But yeah, when we got up there and they said the other girl's name, I started to walk and I was like, wait, that means I won. I'm like, wait, me? Me? Like I won? Are you serious? And so I'm never
Having
emotional.
been through it the year before, it's funny that
Right.
was your first thought is like,
like,
I won. Like,
I'm like, me? Like you read the right name? Like me? But
you weren't worried it was going to turn into a La La Land
my
moment,
goodness.
right?
I was so
that what
confused.
you worried about? Like, oh, that's going to be like La La Land?
I don't know. Like where you go up and they're like, oh wait, we put the crown on the wrong person. I don't know. But it was so much emotion because I worked so hard. I was in my emotions a lot, like I was saying. But I never saw any emotion. I never cried. I started bawling. I couldn't even stop crying. I was doing my wave because they want you to step forward, do your wave, you know, get your thing. I know Star Tribune, they got a crazy photo of me. I was like this, crying. I tried to stop crying. It did not work at all. But yeah, so after they crowned me, I actually stood to the side with the other teens with my crown and holding my flowers. And actually my friend who competed with me last year, or the first year, she was a teen with me. She won the Miss category. So I was like, oh my God, like that's my friend, girl, yay. Like I can't run up there because they're in the middle of crowning her. So I was standing there, I was like, oh my God. And then once they like released everybody, then me and her sprinted to each other, we hugged each other. And then all of our friends hugged each other. And yeah, it was just a surreal moment.
So I was going to say at DeLaSalle, I'm guessing at DeLaSalle, I'm guessing Jordyn and all your buddies over there probably heard that, hey, you're Miss Teen Minnesota, Miss Minnesota Teen. I don't know what the official title
something,
is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say you flaunted that at school, but that had to have been a proud title to carry. Like, and all of your buddies who you met at school were like, what's a fun icebreaker? Oh, one of my best friends is Miss Minnesota Teen USA.
I know my 2 truths and a lie got really good after that. It did. People can never guess which one it was. I'll tell you that much.
I was going to say what are them, but it's like, no, don't tell me because then we'll spoil it and then everyone will see this.
There's quite a few different ones I could do, but yeah.
I have a few myself, and after being featured in a museum, I guess
exactly.
I have another one.
Yep, you have another one.
I've
but
got
yeah.
another.
There's a lot of random facts about me, so I don't really usually talk about myself that much when I meet people. So I just be like, hi, how are you? Da-da-da. I'm not gonna be like, hi, I'm going to college for fencing, or hi, I'm a model. Hi, I testified in front of the Minnesota legislature for $3 million. Like, I don't start listing my facts when I meet people, so it'll be like totally random. Like I'll wear a fencing sweatshirt. They'll be like, you do fencing? Like with the sword? I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Or it's just like something random. Like I usually don't talk about it until like it gets brought up. But that's why I try to like post on my social media, which is more of a business, I would say, social media, where I post like my success and stuff like that.
And nothing wrong with that, because I'm the same way, where I talk about being in a museum, but you know, that time has come and gone, much like your time with Miss Minnesota Teen USA, because I know the next year you had to crown your successor. But what was that year like? Because I know we often think of it as a beauty pageant, and I have kind of a more nuanced view of what beauty means now. It's not just physical appearance, it's everything that makes you who you are. But it's also a big, as I understand it, community service initiative.
For sure,
so you're out there and you're representing the entire state. You got to compete in the nationals. I don't know how well you did, but it's an undertaking. It's not unlike being in a Winter Carnival royalty, for example, where
or it's 1 week or one parade even.
Right, it's a cool title to hold, but it gives you a chance to see and do things that we don't often see. So what was that year like, wearing the crown and being a representative?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. My mom, she's my momager. She's amazing. It was me and her the entire time. I do have a dad. I just never talk about him because he's the best and he's chill. He's always everywhere. But yeah, I love my dad. I love my mom. But it's really me and my mom. And so right after I won the title, that night, they're like, you need to go to Atlanta tomorrow to get a dress. Because the national competition was in 2 months. Like, you need to go tomorrow and get a dress. And so we went to Atlanta literally the next day, left at like 4 a.m. Weren't even there for 24 hours. But I met Ashley Renee, who's like an amazing designer. Like, she has a whole brand, like, worldwide. She's like, hi, I'm Ashley. I'm like, Ashley, like the Ashley? Like, that Ashley? If you're a girl, you know a lot of Ashley Renee dresses. But yeah, I got to meet with a designer, Giovanni. They took me in this little room that was private. It was like curtained off. I was like, what is going on in here? They had unreleased collection of dresses. And they're like, try this on. They had designers in there. Like, try this on. What do you like from this? What do you not like? Da-da-da. We'll switch it. And once I like picked a dress I liked, luckily I liked the dress that was there, so I didn't need to make me a new one. They literally took it off all the shelves. They were not going to sell it that year. They're not going to sell that dress for an entire year. Until after the pageant, so you can have a one-of-a-kind dress. And so I was really lucky to have a sponsorship from Giovanni, so I got that dress, which is absolutely amazing. I love it. It's purple, it's flowy, it's amazing. Check my Instagram if you want to see it. So that was like a huge thing. But yeah, so I've always loved fashion and style, but my mom went to beauty school. And so she's also really good at fashion, good at sewing, good at putting outfits together, stuff like that. So she was really my stylist, and she helped me a lot. If anybody wants to be styled by my mom, let me know. But yeah, so we made a lot of our stuff, like our activewear evening gown, stuff like that. I wasn't stressed. I was having fun at all these events, you know. There was very random ones, like one week we'd be at a gala, the next week we went to Walmart and we were we were giving out like free stuff, raising money for charity and stuff like that. So it's a very wide range of different events, but you always want to look the part, you know what I'm saying? So you don't show up in sweatpants when you have a crown and a sash on you, but you're also not at a gala when you're outside at Walmart. So it's really finding that balance of where you're going to be, who you're going to be around, stuff like that, and being kind to everyone. Because once you do have that crown, that title, everyone's looking at you. And whether that's in a, oh, she's a prissy little princess way, or, oh my goodness, I want to meet her, she looks so kind of way, you need to be able to deal with everything. And I think my mom helped me a lot with that. She's amazing at styling, amazing at like everything. She's so nice. And believe it or not, I'm very shy, or I used to be, not since basketball camp, but I'm pretty shy. And so she'd be like, okay, go talk to them. I'd be like, okay. And then once I get there, then it really helped my public speaking, being able to talk with people and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, if my words mean anything, Mikhala, I do not find you prissy at all.
Thank you. I try not to be.
You don't come off as uptight, high maintenance, none of that. I think you have a strong understanding and respect of all the opportunities that have come your way.
Yes, for sure.
And how you got all of them through the people and your own initiatives. So you don't come off as anything that would suggest you're full of yourself.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're like, okay, I got this. How do I take it to the next level?
Yes, for sure.
And just being in the national tournament, I know you didn't win that one, but that has to be another fun check mark. I know you talk about the 2 truths and a lie. I'm like, forget that game. You could write an autobiography.
I know,
you probably should consider it.
I might have to start it now.
What was it like being in the national tournament, and just what do you remember that will stick with you?
Yeah, so it was a week-long event. I had like 3 suitcases of clothes, and all of them were cute because we didn't know what we were doing. We ended up doing line dancing. We went to a lake. We did a whole bunch of random stuff, but it was super fun. I got to meet girls from all the other states. I stayed in a hotel room with one of the girls. It was just super fun. It was a huge stage and a lot bigger than I was expecting. But I love my dress. I love the activewear set that they gave me. They even had like a museum donate these dresses that we got to wear for the intro. So it was a lot, but it was very fun, and I think it was a good experience to get to understand what it's like on a national level, and being around a bunch of people that are very successful and very accomplished in their life. I feel like that was a very good environment to be in, and yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, you met 49 other young women who had highly accomplished resumes. I saw the bio you posted, and it had all of the sports and some of the other accomplishments, other accolades or resume listings, your fluency in multiple languages, and I forget everything that was in there, but I looked it over and I'm like, I feel like I'm an underachiever. Like
No, see, that's the number one thing is comparison is the thief of
joy.
All joy. So you can never compare yourself to someone else, and that's another thing. You have to focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing, and be proud of everything that you've done. And if you're not proud of it, look in the mirror and go find something to be proud of.
And I joke, of course, because obviously I'm not you, but when I saw that, I'm going, what did I do with my life? I clearly was slacking.
Hey, you do what you love. You do what you love.
Basketball was my love, even though I didn't have your playing background. A couple questions I like to ask of all my guests, and I'll throw this out there for you, Mikhala. Yeah. Throughout your time, normally I'd say throughout your time in sports, but not many can say I was a Miss Teen Minnesota USA. Yeah. I'm sure when you go to fencing at Wayne State and you do all that, when they do the orientation, that's a fun one to throw out there.
Yes,
but
for sure.
This could be in sports or this could be elsewhere. Throughout your time, what would you say has been the most exciting moment and most embarrassing moment? And by embarrassing, I just mean a silly moment where you look back on and laugh and go, what was I thinking?
Okay, so the most exciting, I would say right after I won the pageant, I was like that was crazy. Like it was just a whirlwind of emotions and stuff like that. Also after winning first in fencing, like I felt so good. I was like, yeah, I did that. Most embarrassing, I'm trying to think. I do a lot of really random stuff. So there's probably a lot of times I've fallen. Every time you're in heels, right? You go outside and there's gravel or any sort of uneven surface, it's like impossible to walk. So like rolling my ankles trying to get into any appearance is very embarrassing. Trying to keep that composure while your ankles are burning from rolling your ankle in those heels.
At least I was thinking about what you said earlier with luge, and at least with fencing, you don't have to worry about, at least less likely, with your ankles getting messed up or
there's very little injuries in fencing, so I'm very grateful for that.
Which is ironic in a sport that involves swords, but again, you have all that protective equipment to ensure that you don't get cut, because I think you told me sometimes you would get like an inadvertent saber to like the face or something like that.
The only time it's dangerous, well, first of all, you're not supposed to fence unless you have your helmet and your glove on. That's the number one thing. But sometimes the only time it's dangerous is when a blade breaks because there's pieces of metal flying around. But other than that, you're pretty much fine. Like you're gonna get bruises because you're getting hit with a sword. Like you're getting hit with metal, it's gonna hurt. But you don't get cut, and it's nothing that won't go away. I would say your other hand gets hurt, like your hand that's facing away from your opponent, because there's no glove on that hand. So if you have your hand in the way, it's metal hitting your hand. So you will get a cut or two. But other than that, you're gonna be fine. It's very rare for your blade to break. Most of the time you can see that it's gonna break, so you just put it down and get your next one. But yeah, there's not a lot of injuries, which I really appreciate.
And there's no gravel surfaces either.
Exactly. All the strips are very nice, very grippy.
You're probably thinking, why can't everything be like that? Why can't all the places I go? This might seem like a tough question to answer because we've explored a lot of facts about you, but what would you say is the most unusual thing about yourself that people wouldn't know if they met you for the first time?
Most unusual. Let's see. I would say just kind of all the different stuff I do. I feel like it depends which environment you meet me in. If you meet me right after like a photo shoot, you're gonna see me in a dress, makeup done, hair done, everything. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, she's a model. That's it. You're not gonna think, oh, she's an athlete. She does this. She has this many pets, which I have 1 million pets. She does this and this and this. But if you see me at LA Fitness, which is what I'm doing right now, I'm working out all the time. You're gonna be like, oh, she's an athlete. But in reality, I'm working out for fencing and I'm working out for the pageant. And so I feel like there's a lot of depth to me, but I'm not gonna kind of wear it outside because I don't know, I think of myself as a humble person and I don't want to make someone else feel bad. Kind of like I said, not everyone can control themselves comparing people, which I had a problem with myself, and so I don't want to make other people feel bad, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to walk out of my house every day in a dress and heels. So it really just depends on where you meet me, where you see me, what I'm doing.
Not to mention, I don't know if you can pull off a fencing dress look. I don't think you could pull off a hybrid.
I don't know about that one. It was kind of funny because At my club, I'm the only girl there. And so last year, there was one other girl that was working with us, and she's like, oh, we're girls. We should show up with our hair done, lashes done, nails done. I already have my hair done, nails done, and lashes done at every tournament. But okay, girl, I'll do it again just for you. Like, I always have my lashes, I always have my nails, just in case I get called for a model casting or something like that. But yeah.
Well, and you've seen a lot. You've had a chance to immerse yourself in some incredible experiences that few athletes get to do. Most of the people I talk to usually discuss their time in sports, and there are other activities they're a part of as well, but sports is the one defining characteristic. In your case, you have several. And that's not to say you're better than everyone else. It's just you have a rare combination that I don't often see.
Yeah.
And Jordyn, I guess, kind of gave me a glimpse of that too, which is why I put in a little reference that got her on WCCO, which was really cool to see, like, hey, someone else thought there was value in her story.
For sure.
But there's plenty of value in yours too. So with everything you've experienced up to this point and all of the opportunities that will await you as a college fencer and perhaps in future pageants, whether you continue after this year or stop, that's up to you. But considering everything you've gone through to get to where you are, what would you tell a younger version of yourself?
Younger version of myself? That's difficult. I would say if you feel like you want to do something, go do it, because you're going to go do it eventually, so you might as well start now. If I would have started all the stuff that I've done earlier, I would be so much better at it. Like, if I started robotics not in high school, I think I'd be pretty good at it. If I started fencing not in high school, I'd probably be also really good at it. So I think push more for what you want and don't let a simple no suffice.
That being said, if you had taken up those activities early on, we wouldn't have learned how quick a study you are. I don't know how you placed in robotics, but you've won fencing tournaments already. After, how many years away from pageantry, you go back into it, you finish second and first in the state competition. So I feel like you're a virtuoso. You can just pick up anything and master it
I mean,
in
I try
record
my best.
time.
I try my best.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Because you're going to Wayne State, and if I recall, your major is biomedical engineering. So where do you see yourself? And this isn't one of those, where are you going to be in 5 years? But how do you hope to take your status as an athlete, as a model, as a former pageant winner? Where do you hope it will lead you? And where do you hope, or how do you hope, I should say, is the more accurate phrasing, how do you hope it will inspire and impact others who are fortunate enough to come across you and your story?
Yeah, so for a big thing for me, where I want to be is, I've never liked a simple 9 to 5. I like making my own schedule. I like doing kind of what I want to do, if that makes sense. And so with biomedical engineering, I really like both R&A, which is research and development, where you're actively making these different devices, different solutions to problems in the medical world. I also like the marketing side of it, so traveling all across the country, working with doctors, seeing what their patients need, and then bringing that back to our R&D, or if I could do both, that would be amazing. But bringing that back to my company and being able to work with our scientists to save more lives and deliver more devices that will help patients that need it.
And anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know. Hi, guys. That could be my intro. Hey, guys. Yeah, just do whatever you want. Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about what other people say. Like, literally don't at all. It doesn't matter. Unless you're crazy, don't be crazy. But just do whatever you want to do. Have a lot of pets. I have a lot of pets. I have an axolotl. He's very cute. I have a hedgehog. I have 2 dogs. I have bearded dragon, and I have a fish. So yeah, just be yourself and don't worry about what other people think.